So, remember how there was like 2 years between Sonic 3 and the previous Sonic LP? Yeah, let's not do that again. Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Sonic the Hedgehog for the Game Gear. This was a bit of an odd thing. For those who don't know, the Game Gear was basically Sega's handheld. 6 AA batteries for about 2 hours of game life. It was actually a pretty advanced thing for the time at least, because it had full color graphics, which is more than the Game Boy can say. It's just the fact that it didn't really know how to use its resources well enough, and it just didn't go well. And while it is based off Sonic 1, we're only seeing 3 familiar zones. The rest of the areas in this game are actually entirely original. And I will say, I love what they did with the soundtrack. Green Hill is the only remix in this game I'm not really fond of. All the other music in this game is actually really good. Which just shows that making original music for a sound chip is better than remixing. Similarly to Sonic 1, if you reach the goal sign with 50 or more rings, you can access a special stage. However, special stages work a bit differently in Sonic 1 Game Gear. There's no Chaos Emeralds in them. Special stages are entirely for extra lives and continues. Get 100 rings, get an extra life, and that's about that. And you can find the continues in a continue box that's very, stupidly labeled when we get to it. And there it is right there. And I have to admit, if you know how to get 50 rings, well, if getting 50 rings is easy, if you know how to get to the goal sign without getting hit fairly consistently, you can have way more than enough lives to beat this game and not get a single game over. I think I top off in this game at around 16 lives, so yeah. If you get to a sign without 50 rings, though, you get Eggman, which means you get nothing. Well, Robotnik, technically. He wasn't Eggman for us until Sonic Adventure 1. Either way, in terms of release dates, Sonic 1 Genesis was June 23rd, and this was October 25th. This was technically released on the Master System first, but for some reason I think the Game Gear version plays a bit better. Though admittedly, it does have one problem that the Master System version does not, and that is screen crunch. Because the screen is very close to Sonic. Not as bad as Mega Man and Bass on Game Boy Advance, but it can be kind of bad. It's because that I'll actually be playing the other one on this Master System. Because, yeah, that's the thing. This is actually a bit of a mini Sonic marathon. I'm doing all the Game Gear games that I can, at least. I'm not sure if I want to do certain 2 of them, because those are technically not Sonic games, but I'll get to that when we cross that bridge. Anyway, we want to go left along this little detour here, because if you jump down this hole, we find the Chaos Emerald. Chaos Emeralds are not hidden in special stages, as I mentioned earlier. There is one in each zone hidden in one of the 2 acts. Usually it's Act 1, but there are some Act 2 ones as well. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it's split 50-50. However, since this is based off Sonic 1, there are only 6 Chaos Emeralds. I don't even think any of the other games I'm doing in this little marathon have 7. Do they? I forget. It's been a while since I played some of the Game Gear games. Oh, and I apologize if you can barely see Sonic right now, because the thing is, Sonic 1 on Game Gear has a similar problem to the Genesis games in that the shield makes Sonic's sprite flicker. However, it's not like the shield sprite in Sonic on the Genesis, because that shield had its own 2 sprites. This one outright makes Sonic disappear for a frame, and it looks kind of bad. Though Sonic 1 Game Gear does have an issue similarly to Sonic 1 Genesis in the fact that you don't really get many invincibility frames. You get hit with the shield, you can get hit almost right after that. However, if you get hit, you do lose your rings as usual, but it's actually, I don't think you can actually collect the ring you drop when you get hit, because you don't actually drop all your rings, you only drop 1. And I don't think you can collect it because either you're flashing or it's flashing, it's one of the 2. This game does have some technical issues, though, I will admit that, especially in terms of slowdown. Do you think some of the Genesis games can get kind of bad with that sometimes? Even with blast processing? Oh, just wait until we get to part 2, I think it is. Because there is going to be some serious slowdown. Also, if there's anything I don't like about these special stages, it's the bumpers. Particularly the lollipop-looking ones in the first special stage, because they bounce you back really far. Control-wise, I can't quite tell whether or not this plays better than Sonic 1, because first off, the Master System / Game Gear does have less buttons, yes, but they're a bit more responsive in my experience with an actual Game Gear, even though Game Gears are absurdly big, and it kind of makes things playing things awkward. But, yeah. Admittedly, one thing I did like about the Game Gear is that it had a bit of a precursor to the idea of just playing with your system hooked in, because there was an AC adapter, I think it was, that you could plug in, just so you can keep a constant battery life. Mind you, that kind of negates the purpose of portable gaming, but then again, Nintendo did the same thing with the Virtual Boy. Now, like Sonic 1, the third act is a boss fight. However, unlike Sonic 1, it's not its own huge act. They're usually very short, like less than 20 to 30 seconds usually. However, there's also no rings, so you're kind of screwed there. I guess I would call this a bit of a combination of Sonic 1 and 2, where there's a third act, yes, but it's short and considered almost part of the first one. And here's the boss. He does basically nothing. I don't even think he has an attack. If he does, I've never seen it. You should not lose to him because there's no real strategy to that fight, and after beating it, we step on the roboticizer and free all the animals, as usual. By the way, I love the Game Gear Master System remix of the Sonic 1 and 2 victory theme. I really wish that theme would make a comeback, because ever since Sonic 3, it's been the same da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and while I love that tune, I wouldn't mind seeing this one return. Maybe Sonic Mania will do that, because, yeah, that's a trailer that came out recently, Sonic Mania and what everyone's calling Generations 2, though we don't know what it'll actually be called. Either way, with that, welcome to this game's first original zone, Bridge Zone, and I absolutely love this song. Oh my god, I love the Game Gear original music, it's so catchy. Bridge Zone is a very easy area, though, because there's not much in the way in terms of obstacles. There's a few enemies, yes, but the biggest source of death, if you get killed at all, is probably going to be falling into the near constant bottomless pit that's below you. What I just hit right there is a checkpoint. When you die, you get reset there. However, the thing is about those checkpoints is that they're a bit iffy on how they work. Say you die and you respawn at the checkpoint, the box will return. And if you want to continue using that checkpoint, you have to break the box. Again, I'm guessing because it technically loads the entire stage memory up from fresh, only checking to see if you actually hit a checkpoint. So that's kind of stupid, but you'll probably almost always hit the box after dying and respawning anyway, so there's not much purpose to that. Admittedly, Sonic 1 on the Game Gear's difficulty curve is a bit stupid because it's almost entirely easy throughout the entire thing, but then towards the end we get some really stupid difficulty. Either way, as you saw right there, that's where the second Chaos Emerald is. Jump on the bridge and then jump off to get it. In my experience, a lot of the Chaos Emeralds are actually near the end of their respective stages. So, I had a point, but I lost it because train of thought went a bye-bye. Huh. Well then. The one thing I'm not sure about is if you die after collecting a Chaos Emerald before hitting a checkpoint, if it stays with you. I'm not sure about that. Because honestly, the boss stages aside, since there's never any rings, it's kind of rare to die in Sonic 1 on Game Gear, aside from some real stupid stuff like that. The really annoying thing about these green and yellow bumpers is that you can pass through them on the side. You don't always, but in my experience, I very often do. Oh, God. Oh, I'm getting motion sick. This is another problem with the bumpers. This can happen very easily in many of the special stages. Oh, God. This is actually really starting to hurt my eyes. One kind of strange thing about the special stages in this game is that there's only about 4 layouts, but the way they change it throughout the game is that I think once you get to the 5th one, they just cut the time in half. Which, kind of lazy, but Game Gear cartridges I don't think had the best memory, so I'm gonna forgive that. Yep, and actually, no, I'm gonna look it up. Game Gear cartridge size. Bridge Zone 2 that we're heading into right now as I do this is a pretty unique stage for Sonic in my experience, because it's one of the few actual auto-scrollers. The entire level is like this, which is kind of odd, although you can tell that the Game Gear didn't have many layers to work with because the live counter is getting covered by the water. Brilliant. But yeah, off the top of my head, I can only recall maybe 3 other, auto-scrolling stages in the series, so this is kind of rare. I don't think every stage has a shield, but the shields are actually common enough to the point where if you are pretty good at avoiding getting hit, you can probably keep them with them on for almost the entire game. The only stages in this game that I think I complete without a shield are in part 3, I think. Because yet again, this is actually a pretty rare opportunity in which I actually have the entire game recorded because it was so short. The way I usually do LPs, as you probably noticed by this point, is I do each episode as its own individual recording session. Record the gameplay, edit, do the commentary, render, move on to the next part. Though Chrono Trigger is a bit different with that because I had to beat the entire game, but then Kenny and I had to do all that. Mind you, I say that, but we're not even done with Chrono Trigger yet. That's not going to be finished until probably next month, August. Admittedly, auto-scrollers are a thing I don't think work too well with Sonic because his entire gimmick is going fast, so not sure why they would do that. According to my research, a lot of Game Gear cartridges were 8 megabytes in size, roughly. I'm probably horribly wrong about that, but oh well. The thing is about the bridges in Bridge Zone, as you can tell, they're an obvious gimmick. You may have noticed some of them do collapse when you walk on them, but the way to tell if they will do that or not is if they're entirely flat. If they have a bit of give to them, like the one I was just on, they won't collapse and ever, in my experience. But flat ones like this, they'll go bye-bye, a la Mario 2 USA. Well, Mario 2 USA doesn't have any collapsing bridges, but it does have logs and waterfalls, which is what that reminds me of. And that's the end of that stage. The auto-scrolling is actually a bit weird in this game. Well, actually, no, scrolling in general is a bit odd when you get towards an exit sign because the screen will often snap in the direction you're running. Which, yeah, that's a design flaw, I guess. And this special stage. This is probably one of the hardest ones to get not only the continue box, but also an extra life in because a lot of the rings are in areas that are pretty hard to backtrack up just due to the basics of how bumpers work. This is one of the few areas I can ever jump back up through just because of the way the bumpers work. Also, these extra lives, you think you can get both, but you can actually only ever get one of them. So you can't get 2 extra lives out of that, which is kind of lame, but I'll forgive it. Continues, I'm actually not sure exactly how they work in this game. I know if you get a game over, you can use them, but I'm not sure how many lives they give you. It's either 3 or 5, just based off my usual experience. But I don't think I've actually ever gotten a game over in this game. The score system actually does do more than you'd think. The way I actually look at it is it's actually a main way to get extra lives. Every 50,000, I believe it is, you get an extra life. This game, Sonic 1 and Game Gear didn't have a save system, so there's no way you can save your top score. It's just there so you can get extra lives or compare with your friends. And time for the Bridge Zone boss, which is very easy. The way he works is that he'll rise from the top and, not the top, the bottom and the bottom left and the bottom right of the screen. There we go, that's how we sentence. And shoot some projectiles out. The way I'd recommend going about this is doing a high jump, badnik bouncing off of him, and then letting him start cycle around to the other side. If you want to be a bit more risky, like I do later on, you can jump on him, get to the other side, and then roll into him by using the bridge's slope. However, if you're not doing it right, there's a very good possibility you can get hit, so watch out for that, because after all, in boss fights, if you don't have a shield, you're gonna die if you get hit even once because 0 rings. And that's not a system I'm actually a fan of. Boss fights, I think you should always have a way to defend yourself beyond maybe 3 HP. Though I gotta say, I love the boss theme of this game. It's all short and catchy. It actually kind of reminds me a bit of Eggman's AOSTH theme for some reason. I don't know why. They sound nothing alike, but for some reason I'm constantly reminded of it. Either way, with that, that's Bridge Zone. Pretty easy area, actually. And in fact, if I recall, its theme would later be slightly remixed into Sonic Adventure Tales theme. It's very minor, but a lot of people say they can hear it, and I can too, but other people say they can't hear it. But with that, and me hitting my desk, ow, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, we're heading into Jungle Zone. See you guys then. Ow, that hurt my freaking knee.